Hey girls, good afternoon. I thought I'd just put a little video together for you, just to show you the basics of what I do in Lightroom when I first import an image. So I've imported it through the library, and this workflow is what I use for the majority of the images that I shoot, whether they be outdoors or indoors. So on the day, on this particular shoot, we should have had the same settings. We used the same lighting setup. The only thing different is the cameras, but the quality of the images shouldn't have changed. So once I've imported the image into Lightroom, I then go over to the develop module. And once I'm in the develop module, I'll scroll down to the bottom and click enable profile corrections and chromatic aberration. Then go straight to the top, and we're in the basic adjustments panel here. The first thing I do is I drop all the highlights and just increase the shadows. The highlights will just allow the detail of the sky to come through, and the shadows will lift anything that's in the front that might be completely black. So if you look at the histogram here, we've not clipped any of the whites. The whites would be all the way up this way, like that. And we haven't clipped any of the blacks either, so it's relatively well exposed. Then on the whites then, I hold down the Alt key, which then brings up a black screen, and I just drag the whites up until they just start showing through. And then I do exactly the same for the blacks, just to bring back the contrast. Okay, so you can see that the image is still slightly darker. It's at this point I then increase the exposure or the curves, and I try both just to see which one works best for the particular image. So I think I'm going to use the exposure there and just lift the overall exposure. I'm going to bring back some of the blues in a little while, and I'm just going to drop down the blacks just a little bit more, just to make it a bit more contrasty and make our subject pop. You'd have to excuse me, we've got a bit of a sore throat today. At this point then you can add a little bit of clarity if you want, but just a touch. You don't want to add too much because it makes the image look ugly. It just sharpens up any images, and you can boost a little bit of the vibrance. It's just going to make the blues pop a little bit more. Okay, the white balance then. The white balance should be okay on here. We use flash, but it is mixed light. But you can click on the dobber, just click on one of the clouds where it's a neutral color, just to change the white balance. Okay, we can refine that a little bit. And again, white balance is your preference. If you want a colder image, drag it towards the blues. If you want a warmer image, drag it towards the yellows. I'm just going to leave it about there. Okay. After that, just crop it, abiding by the rules of thirds. There we go. And that's it. That's the basic corrections. I wouldn't do any more to that image unless I really, really wanted to. I am going to take a little bit further just while we're here. So just notice the light stands just clipping. Now I usually take it into Photoshop and remove all these, but I know you both might not have Photoshop. So if you go up to this circle with the arrow here, this is the clone and heal brush, and you can set the opacity and the size of the brush itself, how much you want to feather it. So that would be quite a hard brush, that's an ultra soft brush, and the opacity. Okay, so I'm just going to brush over that bit there, and it's just going to take, it's not very good that. Press Ctrl Z to get out of that then, maybe go to the heel, reduce the size of the brush. It should just take, and then you can click off that, and we've just removed that. So as you know, I like a lot of drama in my images, and the way that I achieve that is I use the gradient layer. So if you just click on this square box at the top, and this brings up your gradient, and all you need to do is just draw a line down in the angle that you want a gradient, and you can increase or decrease the exposure. Again, you can reduce the highlights a bit more, you can add a bit more colour into it if you want. We do again on that side there, maybe just one more down from the top. The one from the top I'm not going to, I'm just going to lift it slightly. It just creates a little vignette. Okay. So if you want to add a new gradient layer, you just click on new. That means we're not touching any of the ones that we've already added. Double click effect, then you can create more, and I'm just going to make these bits just a little bit darker down the bottom here. I'll add a new one there, and hopefully what that's achieved is just bringing our attention into the model herself. Okay, the next one would be skin smoothing. You can devise your own brushes and whatnot. I've got my own here. They're like presets, gently, softly. Just take a little look at this. You can adjust your brushes, then create a preset from that. And it's great just for smoothing out a little bit of skin. I mean, again, I would normally go into Photoshop and do this, and not take away too much time in Lightroom. If that makes any sense. I mean, this is great. You can just get rid of any blemishes. Just smooth out skin tones a little bit. Don't go too harsh. Don't go over any major lines. It's not too bad from a distant portrait because you get away with it, and we can add some of the details back in and some of the colour back in a short while. And I use the brushes for things like smoothing skin, dodging and burning. So dodging and burning, click on that just to create a new brush. There should be a dodge and burn in here, or there used to be. Maybe I deleted it. Dodge and burning is basically just going over the darker areas and then over the lighter areas. Okay then, another tool that I love to use in Lightroom, double click on that, is the radial tool, and that's great just for giving bursts of lights and highlighting areas. So I'm going to click on the radial tool, click that new. Basically what it will do is just highlight anything that's inside the circle. Be sure to click invert, because if you don't, it's affecting the whole of the outside of that circle. So if you click invert, it'll only highlight what's inside that circle there. Again, the same with the brushes and the healing tools. You can feather it, how contrasty and less contrasty that you want that. So I just use this to highlight basically and add that little bit of brown. So I'm just going to bring up the dress there ever so slightly. Okay. If you click Control and Alt, the previous adjustment that you've made, you can click on it and drag it. So Control, Alt, and then drag, and it will move those settings around for you, which can help when you're trying to get a nice even look. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. I might create just a little burst of light at the top here, just for all time's sake, just to see what it looks like. I'm going to click, that's new, reset that, drag it down there. Might just make it just a touch warmer. That's great. Okay then. So if you want the blues to pop, feel free to use the saturation and luminescence. I mean, you just want to be a little bit careful with these. They can be slightly over the top. Depends how punchy you want it. I'll bring it into there. You can have it a little bit more washed out and take the blues completely out of it, and it completely changes the look of the overall image. I want a bit of blue in there. So you can make it really blue with luminescence, or less blue. Okay, I want it quite blue. That's great. So the last thing I do then is I just sharpen everything up and take away any noise. I mean, I was at ISO 200 if we hiss around here. ISO 200, there shouldn't be any noise, but what I like to do is take this up to 20-ish. and then my sharpening up to 80. So what I like to do is my sharpening plus my noise reduction always adds up to 100. So if this was on 10, then that would be on 90. If this was on 30, then that would be on 70. You can zoom in there. You can just see it's sharpened up. Lovely. Okay. If you want to see the before and after, you just press Y on the keyboard as a shortcut, and it'll give you the before image and the after image. Okay. So if you're ever exporting to Facebook, if you're exporting to print, export at full res. By clicking Y again. If you're exporting to Facebook, if you click on your image down here, File, Export, choose where you want it to go. Choose a specific folder. Okay for the time being, and down to train. I've already got a folder for you. Train. Select that folder. Rename it. Okay. So if you're exporting for Facebook, then what you want to do is make sure that the format's in JPEG and the color space is sRGB. Okay. Adobe RGB holds a lot more colors, and a lot of the web colors and formats don't support it, so they'll look pixelated and whatnot. What you want to do is resize to fit. Make sure you click on this drop down panel and go to long edge. Okay, and the setting that you want is 2048. You don't want any sharpening on it because we've already sharpened in Lightroom. And if you export from there, then so that's exporting, you can see at the top. It's now going into whatever folder you wanted it in. Okay then guys, there you go, there you have it. That's the final image that we've just edited in Lightroom. So they're my basic workflow for Lightroom. So just to recap, once imported, you're in a development module. Click Enable Profile Corrections and remove chromatic aberration. Scroll right to the top. Decrease your highlights, increase your shadows, use the whites and blacks to put contrast back into the image, a little bit of clarity, a little bit of vibrance if that's what you want, and then from there, if your image is too dark or too light, you can increase the exposure or use your curves panel by dragging up from the center. Okay, it's better to do everything in small increments rather than large ones. And then to finish off, once we've done our color correcting and whatnot, is to take away any grain and just sharpen that image up. Alright guys, I hope that's helped. Let me know if you've got any questions and I'll try my best to answer them. Okay, thank you.